and welcome to the Autocar Show. Now, when Ford launched the EcoSport, it was a huge success. In fact, it went on to win our Car of the Year. But then it had an advantage. It was quite unique and it was the first mover in its segment. Well, Ford are ready with their next launch, the Figo Aspire, but this time around, they don't have that advantage. In fact, they're almost last to the party in the sub-4-meter compact sedan segment. It's already got a load of well-entrenched competitors. Now, Ford know that, so they say they've packed it with a lot, but does it have what it takes is what we're going to find out. Well, they've definitely got something going with the looks. I like that Aston Martin-like snout, the swept-back headlamps, the chrome-slatted grille, fogs in black cladding, and bonnet lines that draw you down to the center make it look quite racy. In the profile, we found it loses some of that pizzazz with a stubby boot and 14-inch wheels that appear a little too small, especially with the large metal area above the rear tire. The boot itself is simple, with a thick band of chrome to liven it up. We also noticed that Ford have added a little curve on the rear wheel arch, a lip on the front, and sharp edges on the rear with a swept-back windscreen, all for better aerodynamics. So there are pluses and minuses, but overall, it's the kind of look that one would be happy to live with. So it's a very familiar interior, lots of bits here that are almost similar to the EcoSport, but there's also some very nice, new, interesting bits on the inside of the Aspire. Something I particularly like is this iPod dock. So you can have your wire in there, connect it in, it charges, you can even connect it to aux. And once you put the lid down, it just holds it firmly in place, so even when you corner, it doesn't slide around anywhere. Very convenient place for the phone to be, for you to see it and use it as well. You can use it as your navigation system too. So that's very interesting. But apart from that, there are also a load of other very convenient storage places, like this flat portion just underneath the AC controls, lots of cubby holes and cup holders on the central console, and a very interesting safe pocket which is on the side of the driver's dashboard, so nobody can access it unless you open the door. Lots of interesting features here, but let's take a look at the other one, the Titanium Plus version, which still has some more. So now this variant has the leather seats, which are extremely comfortable, and what I forgot to show you earlier was this lovely knurled finish on the knobs of the AC controls. On this variant, of course, you get the sync system, which we're familiar with from the EcoSport. You get aux in, you get USB, and the sync system now has app connectivity, which is a new addition. And of course, the info display is here in place of the dock. Now, this info display also has another nice new feature as far as safety is concerned, called My Key. Let's take a closer look. The My Key system allows you to program one of the keys setting the speed limit warning, the actual speed limit, and the volume limit. As you can see, the volume refuses to go beyond a point no matter how much I turn the knob. We also gave the speed limiter a test on the go, and we found that it was ideal for ensuring that either your kids or your chauffeur drive safely at all times. Apart from that, the two-tone coloring of the dash makes it interesting, and the beige interior gives it an airy feel. Though overall quality is on par with the segment, some bits like the door pads and the plastics on the lower half of the car aren't too impressive. Also, the meters, though clear, are a little small, and there's equal prominence given to the tach and the fuel gauge, which is unusual. So, you get a rather large fuel gauge, and maybe Ford wants us to realize that they're giving equal weightage to performance and economy. The Figo Aspire also misses out on some essentials, like parking sensors, which are offered only as an accessory, and rear aircon vents. However, I wouldn't worry too much about the vents, because the front ones work well enough to keep you cool even on a hot summer day. Now, when you get in, the initial feeling is really ergonomics are good, everything falls to hand easily, there's a lot of range for the seat height adjust, so getting into a comfortable position is simple, and visibility is good. But more than that, what really surprises you is refinement levels. This petrol engine is extremely smooth and refined, and more than that, it's the cabin insulation that's really impressive for a car of this size. We drove the 1.2-litre petrol first. This engine produces 87 bhp, which is 17 up on the Figo, and 11.42 kgm of torque. You do feel that difference, but mainly in the city when you need path throttle responses, which do come in quicker. Now this petrol engine is really not energetic or enthusiastic. Use it with a light foot and it'll do just fine. However, put your foot flat to the floor. If you want to get an urgent move on, you'll find you have to work the gears. It doesn't really serve up power too easily and it's not happy to be pushed. The engine feels labored when you ask too much of it. Still, if you plan your moves and use the gearbox, which is light and easy, it's perfectly capable of city or highway driving. Now, where the petrol comes across as shy and reticent, the diesel doesn't hold back. Get your hands behind the wheel of this diesel and it's bound to put a smile on your face because power and performance are really ample. It's a punchy engine that's responsive too. In fact, it's got 99 bhp, which is even more power than the EcoSport, and you can really feel all of it. It's eager to spring off the line, and with the turbo kicking in as low as 1400 RPM, not only is this engine fun, but it's very drivable too, especially when you have to amble around in city traffic. Push it hard and you can hear it, but the sound is never too intrusive, thanks to the great cabin insulation. City or highway, this engine really does the job well. The steering has a certain amount of slack at dead center, so it doesn't have that extremely connected feel that the older Ford steerings had. But I still have to say that even at higher speeds, you still feel safe and confident, and it's good enough. We found the petrol steering to be a little better weighted than the diesel one, with a touch more on-center feel as well. The brakes also proved to be as good, inspiring a lot of confidence. You can drive the Aspire hard, but its handling is not as sharp as the Fiesta, and it's clear that Ford have aimed it more at comfort than keen dynamics. The Aspire has this really nice soft edge over all the bumps and undulations that the Indian roads throw at us. The soft cushioning on the seats also helps passengers remain comfortable, and the impressive part really is the suspension that works away very silently, so you barely notice that you're going over uneven surfaces. On really bad sections, there is a hint of firmness, but overall, the ride really feels composed. Add in the comfort factor and the rear seat passengers will be happy. So initial feeling is maybe it's not as spacious as the Amaze, but once you sit here a while, you realize that actually space in this back seat is quite good. It's quite cleverly done. The rear of the front seat is scooped out and it's quite high off the floor, so you can actually stretch your legs. Even taller people will be comfortable over here. Seat is wide, floorboard is quite flat. It's a nice airy cabin, so spending a long time in this back seat will be comfortable and easy. The Figo Aspire will also come with a third option, the 1.5-litre petrol, producing 110.5 bhp, mated to a 6-speed auto box. So you really have a full range to choose from: petrol, diesel and automatic. The company also threw at us some pretty impressive fuel efficiency figures, so you can expect the Figo Aspire to be light on the wallet. Well, the Figo Aspires definitely set benchmarks in terms of comfort and refinement, and the diesel engine has excited us as far as performance goes. Now, we also find that Ford has targeted the younger generation because they love their smartphones and connectivity. Well, in general, in terms of features, they've really packed it in, so the Aspire really has a lot going for it. However, we do have to say that it's lost that dynamic sharpness of some of the older Fords. Still, even though it's not aimed at the enthusiast, it now has a much broader appeal, and Ford are going to price it aggressively. So, even though they're last to the party, we feel they definitely have the potential to be at top of the game.